The 1968 Washington quarter is one of the most talked about coins from the United States. Some people claim it can be worth over $200,000, even as much as $220,700. That number sounds amazing, and it is easy to understand why so many people get excited. But is it true? Could an ordinary 1968 quarter really be worth that much money? Let's talk about the coin, why people think it is valuable, what makes some coins special, and what the real value usually is. We will keep everything simple so anyone can understand it clearly. The Washington quarter has been around for a long time. It first appeared in 1932 to honor George Washington, the first president of the United States. The front of the coin, called the obverse, has a picture of Washington facing left. Around his head are the words, Liberty and In God We Trust. Below his neck is the date, which for this coin is 1968. The back of the coin, called the reverse, shows a bald eagle with its wings spread wide. The words, United States of America, are above the eagle and $quarter is below. The design looks strong and proud, and for many years it stayed the same. By 1968, the United States had already changed what quarters were made of. Before 1965, quarters contained real silver. But starting in 1965, the government decided to stop using silver because it became too expensive. Instead, they made the coins out of copper and nickel. These metals are cheaper and easier to get. The new coins have a copper core in the middle and a nickel-copper layer on the outside. This is called a clad coin. So, if you have a 1968 quarter, it does not contain silver. It is made of these cheaper metals. In 1968, the United States Mint made millions and millions of Washington quarters. The main mint in Philadelphia made over 220 million of them. The Denver Mint made over 100 million with a small D mint mark under the eagle's tail feathers. The San Francisco Mint made a smaller number, but those were special proof coins made for collectors. The proof coins have a mirror-like shine and are made with extra care. Because so many regular 1968 quarters were made, most of them are very common. You can still find them in pocket change today. Now that we know how common they are, it is important to understand what makes some coins valuable. Most coins that people use every day are worth exactly what it says on them. A quarter is worth 25 cents. But collectors sometimes pay more money for coins that are rare, old, in perfect shape, or have something unusual about them. The same thing happens with the 1968 quarter. The only ones that are really worth more are the ones that are either in perfect condition or have an error that makes them special. The condition of a coin matters a lot. If a coin has been used for a long time, it gets scratched, worn down, and loses its shine. That kind of coin is called circulated. Circulated coins are usually worth only face value, which for a quarter is 25 cents. But if a coin has never been used, it is called uncirculated. Uncirculated coins look shiny, clean, and have sharp details. Collectors like these coins much more, and they often pay higher prices for them. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC look at coins carefully and give them a grade. The higher the grade, the better the condition. Grades usually go from 1 to 70. A coin that is worn out might be graded around 10 or 20, while a coin that is brand new could be graded 65, 66, 67, or even 68. Only a few coins ever get grades like 68 or 69 because it is very hard to find a coin that perfect. For 1968 quarters, most of them are far below that grade, so they are not worth much more than face value. Still, there are a few examples of 1968 quarters that have sold for a lot of money. One very clean 1968 quarter graded MS-68 sold for around $9,400 in an auction. That is a huge amount for a coin that is normally worth a quarter. But remember, that was an extremely rare coin in nearly perfect shape. The higher the grade, the rarer it becomes. That is why collectors paid so much for that particular coin. But even that coin did not sell for anywhere near $220,700. There has been no official record of a 1968 quarter selling for that much. Some people online claim that a 1968 Washington quarter can be worth over $200,000. Usually, those claims are not real. They are either mistakes, misunderstandings, or sometimes even scams to get people excited. Some sellers list coins for crazy prices online, but that does not mean anyone actually pays that much. It is important to look at real auction results from trusted places like Heritage Auctions, PCGS, or NGC to see the true selling prices. Those records show what coins have really sold for, not just what people ask for. One thing that can make a 1968 quarter worth more is a minting error. An error happens when something goes wrong while making the coin. These mistakes can make a coin rare and interesting. Some people collect error coins and pay extra money for them. There are a few types of errors that can happen. One kind is a wrong planchet error. A planchet is the blank piece of metal that a coin is made from. Sometimes a quarter gets struck on the wrong metal blank, like one meant for a penny or a dime. This makes the coin look strange. It might be a different color or weight. If a 1968 quarter was accidentally struck on a penny planchet, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. But this kind of mistake is very rare. Another type of error is an off-center strike. That means the design on the coin was not placed correctly in the middle. Part of the coin might be blank on one side, while the rest of the design looks off to one side. If the coin is only a little bit off-center, it might not be worth much. But if it is far off and you can still see the date clearly, it can be worth $100 or more depending on how far off it is. A missing clad layer is another possible error. Since the 1968 quarter has a copper core and a nickel outer layer, sometimes that top layer is missing. If it is missing, the coin might look reddish like a penny. This kind of error is pretty easy to spot. Coins like this have sold for around $80 to $100 if they are in good shape. There are also clipped planchets. That happens when a small piece of metal is missing from the coin's edge, almost like someone took a bite out of it. These coins can be worth $50 or more, depending on how clean the error looks and how much of the coin is missing. Double die errors can also happen. This means the coin design was struck twice by mistake, and you can see doubled letters or numbers. Double die coins are popular with collectors, but for 1968 quarters they are not common. Still, if someone finds one, it could be worth a few $100s or more depending on how strong the doubling looks. So, a few 1968 quarters with big errors or very high grades can be worth hundreds or even thousands. But those are special cases. The vast majority of 1968 quarters are common and worth only face value. Even uncirculated ones are usually worth only a few dollars unless they are almost perfect or have a unique error. The $220,700 claim likely comes from confusion with another coin or from fake listings online. There is no real record of a normal 1968 quarter selling for that much money. A coin like that would have to be extremely special, probably the best example in the world, graded by PCGS or NGC at the highest possible level, and sold at a big auction to serious collectors. Even then, most experts agree that it is very unlikely for a 1968 quarter to reach that kind of price. It is good to remember that coin collecting can sometimes be confusing. Just because someone lists a coin for a high price online does not mean it is worth that much. What matters is what someone actually pays for it. The best way to know the real value of your coin is to compare it to recent auction sales or get it checked by a professional grader. If your coin is shiny, clean, and free of scratches, it might be worth a few dollars. If it also has a special error, it could be worth more. But if it looks like an ordinary used quarter, then it is probably only worth 25 cents. If you are curious about your coin, you can take a few simple steps. First, look closely at the coin in good light. Check if it has a mint mark under the eagle on the back. A D means it came from Denver. An S means San Francisco, and no letter means Philadelphia. Look for any strange marks, missing parts, or doubling of letters. If it looks unusual, you can compare it to pictures of known error coins online. If you think it might be special, you can take it to a coin dealer or show it to a collector for advice. If you really think you have a valuable coin, the best step is to have it graded by a company like PCGS or NGC. They will check it carefully and tell you its grade. They will also put it in a clear holder with a label showing its grade and details. Having a coin graded makes it easier to sell because buyers trust those companies. A graded coin usually sells for more than one that is not graded, especially if it is in excellent condition. For most people, though, a 1968 quarter will always be worth just its face value. It is still a neat coin to have because it is part of American history. It shows how coins were made after silver was removed and how the minting system worked in the late 1960s. Many collectors enjoy keeping one from each year just for fun or as part of a set. Even if it is not worth hundreds or thousands, it is still a piece of history that you can hold in your hand. So, the truth is that almost all 1968 Washington quarters are worth 25 cents. A nice uncirculated one might be worth a few dollars, maybe up to $10. A rare error coin might bring $100 or even a few thousand if it is something really special. The highest real auction record is around $9,400 for a nearly perfect example. But the idea that a regular 1968 quarter could be worth $220,700 is not based on any proven sale or expert record. That number is just too high to be true for this coin. If someone tells you that their coin is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, it is always smart to ask questions. Ask them if the coin was graded by PCGS or NGC. Ask if there was an auction result that proves that price. Without that proof, the claim is probably not real. Many people online make these claims to get views or attention. It is easy to get excited, but always double-check before believing such big numbers. Coin collecting can still be a lot of fun even if you never find a $200,000 coin. It teaches you about history, art, and how money has changed over time. Each coin tells a story about the time when it was made. The 1968 Washington quarter reminds us of when the United States switched from silver to cheaper metals, and how that change shaped modern coins. It is a simple but interesting part of American coin history. In the end, you do not need a $220,700 coin to enjoy collecting. The real joy comes from learning and discovering. You might find a neat error, a shiny uncirculated coin, or even a proof coin that looks beautiful. Always look carefully, learn from real experts, and do not fall for false claims. Keep your expectations realistic and have fun searching. So, if you have a 1968 quarter, keep it safe, look at it closely, and appreciate it for what it is. Maybe it is worth a little more than a quarter, maybe not, but it is still a part of history. The big $220,700 value stories sound exciting, but they are not supported by real evidence. The real value of most 1968 quarters is in the learning and enjoyment they bring to collectors. And who knows, maybe someday you will find a real rarity hiding in your change. Until then, keep checking your coins, stay curious, and enjoy the hunt. The 1997 D Washington quarter is a coin from the United States. It has the letter D on it, which stands for the Denver Mint, where it was made. Some people say this coin can be worth as much as $22,700, and that sounds very exciting. But is that really true? Let's look at what makes the 1997 D quarter special, what it is made of, how it looks, and how much it can really be worth today. This explanation will use simple and clear language so anyone can understand it easily, even if they are new to coin collecting. The Washington quarter has a picture of George Washington, the first president of the United States, on the front. This side is called the obverse. The word liberty is written above Washington's head, and under his chin it says, "In God we trust." The year 1997 appears at the bottom of the coin. On the back side, which is called the reverse, there is an eagle with its wings open, standing on a bundle of arrows with olive branches underneath. Around the edge it says, United States of America, and $quarter. The small letter, D, that shows it was made in Denver is just to the right of Washington's hair tie on the front of the coin. The 1997 D quarter is made of copper and nickel. The inside, or core, of the coin is made of copper, and the outside layers are made of copper and nickel mixed together. This is called a clad composition. The coin does not contain any silver. Before 1965, U.S. quarters were made of 90% silver, but the government stopped using silver because it became too expensive. Instead, they started using copper and nickel, which are cheaper metals. So, even though the 1997 D quarter looks shiny like silver, it has no real silver in it. The coin weighs about 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. Its edge has many small ridges all around it. The United States Mint made a very large number of 1997 D quarters, around 599 million of them. That is more than 500 million coins. Because so many were made, most of them are not rare at all. You can easily find a 1997 D quarter in your spare change, in a coin jar, or at a bank. Since they are so common, most of them are only worth their face value of 25 cents. Sometimes people get confused when they hear that a coin is worth thousands of dollars. Videos and websites often claim that a 1997 D quarter can be worth $22,700, but they usually do not explain why or what makes that coin different from normal ones. Just because someone says a coin is worth that much does not mean it really sells for that price. What really matters is what collectors are willing to pay and what similar coins have sold for at real auctions. To understand the value of any coin, including the 1997 D quarter, we have to look at its condition and whether it has any special features. Coins that have been used a lot in daily life are called circulated coins. They may be dirty, scratched, or worn down. Circulated coins are the most common, and they are usually worth only their face value. A 1997 D quarter that looks used and has scratches or dull color is worth about 25 cents. If the coin has never been used, it is called uncirculated. These coins are shiny, clean, and have no signs of wear. Uncirculated coins can be worth more because collectors like coins that look new. A 1997 D quarter in uncirculated condition might be worth $5 to $10, sometimes a little more if it looks perfect. But it still won't be worth thousands unless something very special about it makes it unique. Coins are also given grades by professional companies like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company. These companies look at a coin under magnification and give it a grade from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the better the coin's condition. A grade of 70 means the coin is perfect with no flaws at all. For the 1997 D quarter, most coins that people find are in lower grades because they have been used. Some coins in mint condition can get a grade of MS65, MS66, or MS67. Coins in very high grades are rare. Even though millions of 1997 D quarters were made, very few have survived in perfect condition because most of them were used in everyday spending. So collectors will sometimes pay more for coins graded MS67 or higher. But even then, the prices are not as high as some rumors suggest. According to real auction records, the highest price ever paid for a 1997 D Washington quarter was about $1,700 for a coin graded MS68 by PCGS. That is a lot of money, but still far from $22,700. When you hear about a coin selling for tens of thousands of dollars, it is usually because that particular coin had something very rare or unusual about it. For example, sometimes coins are made with minting errors. A minting error happens when something goes wrong during the coin's production. These errors make the coin look different from normal ones, and collectors like them because they are rare. There are several types of mint errors. One common type is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank, called a planchet, is not placed correctly in the press. The design ends up printed off to one side, leaving a blank area on the coin. If the off-center error is big but still shows the date clearly, it can be worth $50 to $200 or more depending on how dramatic it looks. Another kind of error is a clipped planchet. This means that when the blank metal circles were being cut out of the sheet of metal, one was cut too close to another, leaving a missing part that looks like a bite was taken out of the coin. A clipped planchet error can make a 1997 D quarter worth $30 to $100, depending on size and condition. There is also a wrong planchet error. That happens when a coin is struck on a blank meant for another type of coin, like a penny or a nickel. If a 1997 D quarter was accidentally struck on a penny blank, it would be smaller and have a copper color. This type of error is extremely rare and could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars if verified by a grading company. Sometimes the outer layer of the coin can be missing or partially missing. Since the 1997 D quarter is made of layers of copper and nickel, if the top nickel layer is missing, the coin will appear reddish or copper-colored. This is called a missing clad layer error, and it can make the coin worth around $100 or more depending on its condition. Another type of special feature collectors look for is doubling, called a doubled die. This happens when the coin's design is accidentally impressed twice during minting, making the letters or numbers appear doubled. Strong doubled dies can be very valuable. However, there are no widely known or confirmed major doubled die varieties for the 1997 D quarter, so this type of error is not common for that year. Now, let's go back to the $22,700 claim. Is it possible for any 1997 D quarter to be worth that much? Technically yes, but only under very rare conditions. It would have to be a one-of-a-kind coin, probably with a dramatic mint error or a perfect grade of MS-70. To date, no 1997 D quarter has officially sold for that high amount in a major auction. Most of the time, when people see prices like that online, it is just someone listing their coin for that price, not actually selling it for that amount. Anyone can ask for any price, but what matters is the price someone actually pays. If you think your 1997 D quarter might be special, there are a few things you can do to check. First, look closely at its condition. Is it shiny, with sharp details and no scratches or wear? If yes, it might be uncirculated. Second, check for any errors. Is the design off-center? Does it look like part of the metal is missing? Is there a strange color or doubling of letters or numbers? Third, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They will inspect the coin carefully and tell you exactly what you have. They also seal the coin in a protective case with its grade printed on the label. Graded coins are trusted more by collectors because experts have already confirmed their condition and authenticity. If you want to sell a coin for hundreds or thousands of dollars, it almost always needs to be graded. Without a professional grade, most collectors will assume the coin is worth face value. If you check auction sites like Heritage Auctions or Great Collections, you can see real records of how much 1997 D quarters have sold for. This is the best way to find out their true value. For example, a regular uncirculated 1997 D quarter might sell for $5 to $10. A high-grade MS-67 might bring $50 to $100. The top grades like MS-68 have sold for around $1,000 to $1,700 in rare cases. But there are no records of a 1997 D quarter selling for anywhere near $22,700. So if someone claims their coin is worth that much, it's important to ask questions. Is it graded by a real company? Does it have a known and verified mint error? Has it actually sold for that price? Most of the time, you will find that the claim is just an exaggeration or misunderstanding. Many videos and online listings use big numbers to get attention, but they do not show real proof. In the coin world, rarity and condition are everything. A coin with a huge mintage like the 1997 D quarter will only become valuable if it is extremely well preserved or has a rare error. Coins that are truly worth thousands are usually very old, made of silver or gold, or have historical importance. The 1997 D quarter is a modern coin, and because there are so many, it is not likely to become rare anytime soon. That said, coin collecting is not just about money. It's also about history, art, and discovery. Even a common coin like a 1997 D quarter can be interesting to study. You can learn about how coins are made, how to identify errors, and how to handle and store coins properly. Some collectors enjoy finding the best possible examples of common coins and building complete sets of quarters from each year and mint. If you want to check your coins, use a magnifying glass and good lighting. Hold the coin by the edges so you don't get fingerprints on it. Look at both sides carefully for anything unusual. If you find something that looks strange, compare it with photos of known mint errors online from trusted websites. If you still think it might be rare, show it to a local coin dealer or send it to a grading service. To sum it all up in simple words, a regular 1997 D Washington quarter is worth 25 cents. A nice shiny one that was never used might be worth a few dollars. A high-grade one that has been professionally graded could be worth hundreds, or even around $1,000 if it's one of the best-known examples. If it has a rare mint error, it could be worth even more, maybe a few thousand. But a coin worth $22,700 would be extremely rare, and there is no public record of one selling for that amount. The most important thing is to be careful with information online. Just because someone lists a coin for a big price does not mean it is really worth that. Always check trusted sources and real auction results. If your 1990-70 quarter looks special, take your time, learn more, and get it checked by experts. Most likely, it is a regular quarter, but you never know until you look closely. Coin collecting is about enjoying the hunt, learning new things, and appreciating the small pieces of history in your hands. So keep checking your change, stay curious, and have fun exploring the world of coins.